Probably wondering why I got the Lowe's shirt on. I actually dug this shirt up a long time ago. And it's been sitting in my thing. It's been sitting in my closet as almost like a good reminder to say, Dave, don't do it. Don't do it. So if you don't know, Lowe's and Wayne Dalton have merged again. So back in the day, when I was a young buck, I started out with Lowe's and Wayne Dalton. And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But looking back, I'm trying to get in because I want to get you this sheet so we can kind of, what is this? Google or something, get locked out, whatever. Okay, no recovery, confirm, whatever. Not now. Not now. Move on, Google. Move on. Whatever, man. Just, okay, skip. Skip. Just skip it. Whatever. Done. Jobber. Okay, so let's get into this. So you're probably wondering why I am wearing a Lowe's shirt. If you don't know, Lowe's and Wayne Dalton have merged back together. So they're supposed to be partnering back up, which I think is good. I think that's good. I think Wayne Dalton worked better for him. Here's some stuff. This is going to be kind of it's going to be a long story. So if you got time, follow along. If not, this is not a video for you. And I'm sorry, but this is going to be kind of an educational video on some of the points of some of the hardship I went through with Lowe's and Wayne Dalton, and probably more or less why or why not, why you would or why you wouldn't partner up with Lowe's and Wayne Dalton. So to give you a little backstory on it, when I started years ago working with Wayne Dalton and Lowe's, I was so excited. I was like, "Oh yay! You know, I'm the man." You know, and come to find out, you know, doing it for about a year, about 2 years, they would keep you busy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that you gotta know. There's a point of being busy to there's a point that's being profitable. Remember, busy, profitable. Busy, profitable. If I'm losing money, I can sit on my couch and watch TV and lose money. It's just that easy. So we ended up when we partnered up with Wayne Dalton Lowe's, we ended up basically being very busy. I actually hired a full-time secretary. That was the only reason I ever got a secretary to start out with, was because at that point I needed somebody to handle the paperwork. Now I truly believe that Lowe's was better with they had install salespeople. It was called their install sales department, is what it used to be called when you call in. So I think it was good because what it was, there was generically about 3 people. I'm sure it was maybe more, but 3 in there about all the time. actually at the Lowe store. And they were like your mom, you know what I mean? They were like the people that call you and say, have you contacted this customer? Have you did a detail yet? Have you scheduled the install yet? I mean, they were harping on you. So if you were kind of a lazy contractor, which I don't think we were really lazy, we were just busy. And so sometimes stuff would get pushed aside and you forget, and they would be there to say, hey, we haven't got nothing yet. Where's the paperwork? Where's this? It was a good thing. And it was kind of like a love-hate, you know. It was like, you know, it's like when your mom tells you something and then you're like, man, you know, but you're just like, I know she loves me, you know what I mean? It was kind of like that, you know what I mean? So it was good, but you could also go in there, which I really liked. I like the fact that you could go in there, you could talk to somebody face-to-face, and explain the situation of what was going on. That was really nice. Then towards the end, which I'm positive they still do it, they went to what like Home Depot was doing. And Home Depot was a little different. It might have changed. It's been years since I've done it. Home Depot, I'll tell you a little story. This one time I went up, it was probably at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from the shop. Go up to this customer, drive up there. And I remember this lady, she was ecstatic. She was just going, I just can't wait. I just can't wait. I can't wait for my new garage door. And I'm just kind of going, oh, all right. What's going on here? Why are you so excited about your garage door? Like, far as I know, through Home Depot, I haven't gave you a price yet. So, and what it came down to is she says, I just can't wait for my new garage, because what was going to happen is I got to generate a price for Home Depot. And then they take that price, and I don't remember what the markup on it was, but it was outrageous. It was almost like double. For some reason, I keep thinking it's like 300%. I don't know. It might have been just 30%. I don't know. 30% wouldn't be so bad. So it must have been more. It was just a lot. Every time I would get their final, like I would sometimes ask the customer, be like, hey, what, you know, do you got your paperwork so I can see all what you're supposed to get, or, you know, can I see what the final bill, you know? And I'd see it and I'm go, whoa. I go, we're getting only like $300 or whatever, and they raked you over like $1,000. You know what I mean? That was just like they're like in a profit that's like they were gonna make. Where Lowe's never was like that. Lowe's was like they gave us $65 for something and they maybe made $10. You know, it was really weird. So anyways, this lady was super excited. The reason she was excited is because she had a Home Depot card. Because she was going to finance it on a Home Depot card. That's why she didn't care. And she was just so excited. I sent in the price. I had to send in extra, like another $100 or something like that for fuel because it was so far away. And they jacked it up. She took it, and I thought, man, that's a shame. She could darn near probably get the door installed and everything half price of what Home Depot was charging with a local garage door company. But that's, you know, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, you know what I mean? So you just go do your job and do a good job. So anyways, Home Depot didn't last very long. It was way more complicated because the fact that you had to you didn't have nobody in the store. So I remember one time with Home Depot, I had a customer that needed woodwork around the jam, and the garage was kind of packed full of stuff. It was just one of those things that you knew it was going to take you probably 4 hours extra, and you had somewhere between $60 to $80 in extra lumber. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I remember we packed on like $150 or something like that. You know, nothing that's too outrageous. I mean, it could have been $300 for all I know. I don't know. It was fair, and the customer must have barked about it a little bit to Home Depot. I think it was Home Depot, somebody like that. And they came back and they said, you know, we don't, you know, what's the deal? Nobody charges us, you know, and this is when, you know, I'm dealing with somebody out of California. And I finally, you know, after kind of going back and around, I flat out told the guy, I said, have you ever installed a garage door? And he goes, well, no. And I said, why are we having this conversation? I said, if they don't want to pay it, I said, tell them to find somebody else. I said, call different, whatever. Or I said, even you can get a different installer. I said, through Lowe's. I said, this is our price. I said, it's extra. You know, I don't know what to tell you. It's just extra. You know, I mean, if I go in for an oil change and they say, well, your car doesn't even run and the motor's locked up and you need a new motor. And I go, well, I'm only going to pay for the oil change, you know, and they go, well, you can't do that. I don't know what to say. I've done some crazy stuff. It was, looking back, it was more headache than it was worth, because what would happen is at the end of the year, you go to the tax man, your accountant, and you sit down and they tell you, and they go over all your numbers and this and that, and you're just sitting there just like, well, I don't normally get excited anymore. It's always, how much do I have to pay? Oh my gosh, how much do I got to pay? How bad's it going to be? How bad are my lickings going to be? Just bend me over now. So anyways, I'd go there. They go through all the numbers. I'd look at, like a total sales or something like that. And it was whatever, $500,000. And we're left with $30,000. And I'm like, and then I walk out and I look at our little Ford Rangers that we were using to help save on gas, because this is, of course, when gas prices were outrageous. And these trucks got 200,000 miles on it. Tires are all worn out. They're all beat up. Tools are all just about ready to puke out. They're just worn out. And I'm just going, man, is this making any sense? I mean, we're running our trucks and everything ragged to accommodate Lowe's, and we're not making no money. Just to give you an idea, I mean, there's some things that we've learned from Lowe's. There were some good things, like, you had to wear a shirt. That was one of them. You had to put a sign out. Lowe's was very particular about you not parking in their driveway if your car leaked, or even if it didn't leak, they wanted you to put cardboard under it. Kind of good practices. But it was almost like they built this expectation that the customer is going to, get you. They're going to get you in some way or another. And I was always really surprised how many times we go there and the customer, it was almost like, this ain't to be rude or mean, but it was almost like the customers were like, some people just didn't know who to call. I went to some and they were like, I couldn't find nobody, because you get out in rural areas, sometimes there's just not garage door people out there. But it was almost like they were like a different level of, it was almost like naive. I was always so surprised that they didn't say, why didn't I call you? You're the professional, this or that. It was, and then some people had this expectation. It was almost like Lowe's had workers in the back room just waiting to install your door. So it was going to be one of them, and they're going to come out right now and do it. We had a situation, just a little story time. We had a little situation one time. I went to a guy, and his opener was going above the rafter. His door was junky. We were doing just an opener, I think, install. And I basically declined him. I just said, I said, we can't do this. I said, if it was a Chamberlain, I said, I could make it work. I said, but I can't warranty that this Genie at the time, we could make this happen or something. It was the way something was configured, how long the rail was. And it was like he had a loft above behind where the opener was. It was just weird. And I remember the guy almost came off the hooks, and he basically started cussing at me. He told me I could, basically F and leave. And I said, okay. I said, well, please move your vehicle. And he ended up moving his vehicle. We're cruising down the road. He ends up passing us. I told the guy I was working with at the time, I said, there's going to be a phone call. And Lowe's contacted me. And they told me that, that this guy was at their office right now, the desk, and he's very upset. And I said, I totally get it. And I said, but I can't install the product. And I said, here's the thing too with Lowe's. I said, everything I touch, right? Everything that goes through Lowe's, you have to warranty for a year. And it can be a day, it doesn't matter. You warranty it for a year. So any kind of mess ups, any kind of glitches, you get a work order. You got to go out there. So now you're almost installing an inferior product, right? It's a product that's not what you could make last. As a technician, what you can make last a long time, or what you can finagle to make something work as long as possible. But the product they hand you or give you, you're stuck with it, and you're kind of sometimes crossing your fingers, going, "Boy, I hope this doesn't fail," because then it's a warranty, and you go back out there for free. So there was a lot of things. I mean, it looks like they're still doing. I think it was right around about $218 is what we used to get for a double door. And then if you put an opener on there, it was like $65 or something like that. So now it looks like, and then here's the other thing that is kind of a bummer. So I thought this was kind of funny because they contacted us to come back, and I might have considered it. I really would have. I might have considered it, but they didn't give us our local store. They like pawned that off to somebody else. Like they were just like, oh, we want you to do the other stores that are, how far are those? Like 80 miles away, 80, 90 miles roughly, somewhere in there. No. I mean, I used to cover a lot of stores, and I didn't get any more pay. It was stupid. It really was. It was very stupid. And they get you roped in, because all of a sudden somebody drops, hey, this guy dropped off, and you get in their system, and then you feel obligated, and then you feel like you should. And I know it's worse now than what it was then, because like I said, at least in the stores, they were managing that store, that customer. It was a more personal touch. Now you're just dealing with somebody out of California. It's no good. And the paperwork is astronomical. It is just so much paperwork. I mean, so like right now they're paying you, what is this for 11, this is 11 foot wide or over, whatever, it's like $320. Now, depending on where you're at, because I did take a trip down to Arizona, those technicians down there get paid very little, very little. I mean, they were getting like door installs like for like $20. They were doing like piecework or something. It was crazy. I got the rate con on that or something. It's nuts. So just depending on, so you might hear I say 320 and you're like, oh man, that's a lot of money. And not for up around here where we pay people in upwards of 15, 20, 25. Our labor is way higher, and the trucks and the fuel, the brakes, oil change, to have newer vehicles, to have them wrapped, to have shirts and uniforms and tools and upgrade. It's a lot. You always got to remember, everything is liability. Everything is liability. Everything you touch. So I always would tell guys, I say, it doesn't matter if their kitchen sink starts leaking, it's your fault. You were the last contractor there. It's your fault. That's why. And I had a little, I had one up in, where was it? Big Rapids? I gotta quit hitting this thing. And anyways, I installed it. Now, it was for openers. It might have been new doors and openers, but I installed the openers. I remember that part. Guy was a tall dude. I just remember that. He's tall, taller than me, like at least a foot. And I'm only 5'9", kind of short. But anyways, he installed it. Or no, I installed it. And they don't provide you light bulbs, right? Lowe's doesn't provide you light bulbs. And they don't, with the openers at least, they don't provide angle. Well, I have a problem. I always try to give, my technicians, my biggest gripe always is do good quality work. We do not want to be the people that take shortcuts. We do not want to be the cheapskates. We do not want to be the trunk slammers. You know what I mean? Do good quality work. I don't care if it takes you an extra 15 minutes, because that 15 minutes of you being on the job, doing that extra work and making sure it's right will cost us hours. Hours. When you leave that site and then you get back to the shop and you have a work order that says, hey, there's a problem back up there, and the secretary had to deal with that person for 15 minutes. Now the technician's got to drive back out to wherever it's at and re-diagnose what's going on, because the customer don't know what's going on. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That's why it's always, one thing I had a sheet a while back ago from Lowe's, and the one thing they always said was the first 10 minutes of showing up to the job is the most important. The last 10 minutes. So you go over everything with the customer. I like to run the door 5-10 times up and down, listen to it, hear if there's any noise, just take my time, go through, make sure I put all my screws in. It's very, very important. Sometimes it's hard. You can't. The customer's sitting there, they want to talk, and you're trying to wrap up your job. It might be the end of the day. You're sweating, whatever. Oh, hang on. We got company. Sorry about that. Got interrupted. We live pretty kind of country, I guess, and I had a trick-or-treater. Never had a trick-or-treater. He was pounding on the door. Cool little kid. His mom took him on a golf cart ATV type thing, so I heard him yelling there, trick-or-treat. I'm going, trick-or-treat. I left the lights on out front, and we just do it for security, and oh, that's cool. He just got loaded up, man. I grabbed a whole bunch of chips and stuff and a whole bunch of good snacks, so he just got like his whole block worth of treats, so oh, that's cool. So anyways, So you have to go out there. First of all, you have to do a detail. I don't see is this delivery free pre? I'm not seeing on here what they're giving you for a detail. So a detail, product, service, cost, break, all set rates, non-labor, product. Okay, so we ended up getting $35, which was garbage. Let me tell you that. It was garbage. So you go out there, you do a detail. So typically this is how it works. The customer would go there, and the customer doesn't even know this, but the customer would go to Lowe's, and they would say, hey, I want a new garage door. The guy would say, okay, what size do you have? And you go, I think it's a 9x7. So they give a price, and they say like a preliminary number. They would sell it. Because they're Lowe's, and we're too chicken crap to do it. I want to say something else, but I won't. We're too chicken crap. We, as contractors, because we're con men, right? We're con men. Not all of us, but this is what the world that we live in. Anyways, they get full payment. Then they generate a work order, whatever that's going to be, basically a detail. So the customer doesn't even know until we come out and do the detail. The door does not get placed on order. So we go out and do the detail. We go, okay, yep, it'll fit, blah, blah. And here's the thing, it's on you. Now, there's been a few that I fudged. I call the customer and I'd say, could you take a few pictures? Could you try this? Because we were driving a long ways. It wasn't close. Or you're just busy. Or it's like, really? I'm going to go, how many people get off the couch for $35? I mean, I'm not trying to diss anything. I'm just saying, by the time you fire up a truck, get dressed, whatever it is, get your uniform ready, get your products. $35 barely covers the brakes for the day on the truck. So anyways, you go do the detail. Now you go back. You better have all your stuff in a row. You got to send it in, right? You send it in, then they place the door in order. So now you already been to the job site once. Now they get the door coming. Now the door comes to your shop, which is, so now you got to deal with it on the truck. Unload it. Now that's hoping that the thing didn't get damaged, because what's going to happen is you're not going to check it because it's going to be wrapped up or whatever. And you're going to go out to the job site to install it at some point. Now you got to schedule a time for them. And then you also have to confirm that with Lowe's, and it's a kind of a process. It's a lot of time. There's a lot of time that people aren't accounting for. I really get irritated in this business because people don't they don't account for their time, right? They don't understand. Attorneys do it, but we can't do it. And that gets under my skin. It really does, because there's a lot of cost in the secretary. There's a lot of cost in the technician. There's a lot of time when he comes back that he has to prep his truck, clean his truck, restock. There's just an abundance amount of time. And that's why we charge, back in the with $65 for a service call. Now it's $100 and something. I mean, and people, you can't believe it's that much. Well, you don't understand. You're paying for almost my downtime in a sense, and my time to drive here, and my time to restock and refuel and stop and get an oil change, and that's it adds up. So, anyways, we're basically not going to be getting back with Lowe's. I said, if they're in a hardship and we want the Muskegon location, and they're willing to work with us on that, and then maybe if we could slowly expand and I could get another, but nah, it's really, it's one of those things. It's tough. It's really tough because it's like you don't want to turn it down, but I know it's just crumbs. It is just crumbs, and it's gotten worse. When they switched over, and this stuff is like, I don't even know how Lowe's gets away with it. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. They when they went to, it used to be Wayne Dalton, and then I think it was Right Built is what it was called. And Right Built was basically AMAR, from what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment below. So it was Wayne Dalton and Right Built. Wayne Dalton was the main, and then Right Built was like second. So if it went to be like a Right Built, we wouldn't get the job through Lowe's. It was like it would go through a different hub, and then it would get somebody else. So we would, And that was whatever. Well, then supposedly the rumor is that Lowe's did a survey at one time, and they asked, what's the biggest garage door company, manufacturer out there? And supposedly the survey came back, it was Pella. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Pella does not make garage doors. They make windows. So since Wayne Dalton and Lowe's were not working so good together, I don't know what happened. Numbers, they couldn't make numbers right, whatever. It's big corporate stuff, way above my head. Way above my head. They couldn't make it happen. They started going with Amar. But Amar was called Pella. And that really made me mad. I really did not like that. I did not like that at all. Because that's not a Pella door. I mean, Pella might make the windows for the doors, but every door doesn't have windows. So why are these being called Pella? So they would give us a little sticker, and it would say, what's that? What do they call? Entramatic. I think it's Entramatic for Amar. That's their big hub name. Entramatic, but then it's Amar underneath. But then it would be Entramatic, Amar, little sticker, and then it would say Pella on the sticker. And I wouldn't put the stickers on. I mean, I did a couple, but they were so small. And I thought, I'm not putting this Pella sticker on. It's not a Pella. Like, this comes from Amar. This is Amar's hinges. I mean, it's that. And it just burns me that us as consumers, I mean, maybe they think we're ignorant, or maybe we are just ignorant, that they can just, it's like, if you go there and I think about it like this. The John Deere you buy there is not really the John Deere that you probably want or think of. It's just like Chamberlain, right? So you can go to the store and you can buy a Chamberlain. Well, Chamberlain makes LiftMaster, but they're not the same, right? But they kind of are. It's like that whole GM thing, GM, there's a Cadillac, and then there's, whatever nowadays, the Caprice or whatever, the Impala. I don't think they make an Impala anymore. The Chevy 1500, or you can get the GMC 1500. There's a difference. It's just that I just know, it's just like if they buy an opener from Lowe's or buy one from an actual professional installer, there's a difference typically, right? We know that. So it's just a shame, So I'm just kind of a little bit irked about this whole thing because, for one, the slap in the face that we don't even get our home store. And then for two, it's like, you want us to travel far? And then you got to think about, for at least up here in Michigan, right now you could think about it, the roads are dry. It's not that bad. It only takes me, 30, 45 minutes, an hour to travel up that area. But the problem is you got like the store here, and then the job site, because that's a big radius, will be over here. And then if it's 20 miles away, you can get an extra, like, whatever it used to be, 20 cents. Oh, it says right here, mileage per over 20 is, it's $2 a mile. Oh, but that's one way. That's one way. It's not both ways. It's one way. So I doubt you'll even get it for your detail. You only get it for, and then it was like weird because you get $35 for a detail. They would just put it, if the door, like if it sold, then it was like you almost like didn't get the detail. You would just get the price of the door or something like that. I can't remember if that's 100%, but I remember the secretary finding a way to make sure they got us paid on that, because it was just like, we need that $35 to pay for gas. It was insane. And like I said, we were driving Ford Rangers, and then it was hard to transition because now you're dealing with Ford Rangers, and then you're doing the bigger jobs, and the Ford Rangers can't pull a scissor lift. So here's the moral of the story. Stay local. Stay close to home as possible. You'll make way better money. And unless you're like dying, you know what I mean? Like you can't produce money any other way, then I would say swing over to Lowe's, It was one of those things that it kept my guys with a paycheck, but it was running my stuff ragged. It really was. The equipment was getting all ragged out. It was just not a good situation. And like I said, back then, at least you had people to work with, humans. You ever get those people you talk to, like from California? I don't have no problem with California. I love California. I wish I kind of could be there with the weather and stuff. But yeah, I hear there's a lot of homeless and people are fleeing, so I don't want to go there. But I'm just saying, you get somebody, it might have been Arizona, I don't know, but you just get that guy and he's like, you don't know what you'll do. And I'm like, hey, buddy, like, you ever install a garage door? He's like, no. I'm like, you know, then you're not a gunslinger like me. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even, you don't even know what you're talking about. And this is the price. So take it or leave it. So anyways, that's kind of my little thing, my little rant about the whole Lowe's and Wayne Dalton. I don't think I finished about that guy being taller, though, because I think I got interrupted maybe by the trick-or-treater, which is fine. And but anyways, that guy that was taller, right? Light bulbs weren't furnished, so we ended up not installing them. There's none that are furnished, right? It's kind of like batteries not included. And I remember this guy called the store and complained. So I ended up getting the call on it. And the lady says, this guy wants light bulbs installed. And I said, okay. I said, they don't provide light bulbs. And she says, well, we'll provide them. And I said, okay. I said, could you send one of your technicians out there? Or could you send one of your people from the store out there to install light bulbs? You know? Ding, ooh, light, let there be light. But no, I had to drive back up there. I was mad. Let's just say I was mad. So anyways, I had to go up there, another trip, no extra money. Sure, I could get the light bulbs. It's not even worth me, you know how much light bulbs are. It's not even worth me stopping the store to walk in there to get stupid 2 light bulbs. It was just ridiculous. So anyways, that's a headache. I had another one, if you want to kind of hear it, and I got the time. I had another one that was down in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And for some reason where we live, it's like if you go to south, people get way more, typically, not always, they get more anxious. They want stuff now. They expect stuff for free. It's like when you go north in Michigan, we're like the divider, like across. If you took Muskegon through a line, it's like we're the divider. When you go north, it's like, do you need something? Can I give you a hand? If you need anything, knock on the door. You want a cup of coffee? You want some tea? You want a beer? I mean, it's but like south, it's just like, are you done yet? Can you get this installed? I can't believe this. And it's just like, what is going on? Anyways, we're down south. This lady, we obviously went there, did a detail. Probably was getting a door and opener, or just an opener, not sure. We used to rope a lot of things together because you had to do it just to make money. It was insane. So anyways, we go down there. My technician installs the opener, and I get a phone call, and first of all, he's there, and he's running an extension cord across out of a garage, it's a separate garage, over to her house to get power. And this lady comes out and she's like, she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm gonna get your opener fired up, and I'm going to, set the limits. And he's like, yeah, you obviously got to get power in your garage. And the lady said, she says, you're going to fix it. And he's like, no, I'm not. He's like, I'm not a licensed electrician. He's like, that's not me. He's like, every outlet in your garage is dead. Every outlet. He says, I checked every one, Dave. He's like, there's only like 3. He's like, I checked every one. They're all dead. He's like, and she says, well, you need to fix that. And he's like, I'm not fixing it. He said, so he ran the extension. So she's mad. Now, it was really weird because he already told me that the cars were parked on the road. Like, he just wanted me to be informed. And this is a good technician. He worked with me for years. He was really good. And so he never lied to me anything about, at least on that part of stuff. So anyways, we're done with the job. Maybe a week or 2 goes by. I get a call from a district manager, through Lowe's. And I start talking to this guy, and he says, we had a problem. This lady's upset that, you guys installed the opener and there's no power. And the long story short is I'm thinking to myself as we're talking, I'm going, how are we even having this conversation? How does this even, isn't this common sense? So he goes, well, Lowe's has 100% satisfaction, and so she's upset, and we're gonna, send an electrician down there. And I said, what? Whoa! I said, send an electrician down there. I said, no. I said, here's the thing. I said, we will gladly go take the opener out. We will. We'll take it out and we'll be nice about it. I said, we'll take it out and you can refund her money. No, he says, well, and he says, but here's the thing. He says, you guys went down there and detailed it. And I said, yeah, we did. I said, you're right. I said, and on the paperwork, I said, it says right on there, is there an outlet within 3 feet of where the opener is going to be mounted? Period. I said, it doesn't say on there, is the outlet energized? Because it was a yes or no question. Is there an outlet within 3 feet of the opener? Circle it. Yes. Because you look at it, right? Any common sense person would assume that there's an outlet there, that it's going to have power. It doesn't say, is it energized? Did you confirm that there's power there? So anyways, he just said, well, he says, we're going to send an electrician. I think it cost them like $300 or something. Just silly. Then the lady called maybe a couple days later or something, and then tried saying that supposedly we dented her car, when my technician already told me a couple days prior that he's like, they all parked down the road. And I'm just like, this lady is just rolling over Lowe's. She is just trying to rake them over. And it was very complex. There was things that you'd run into, like for openers. I had a guy out in Lansing area that was working for me. And I found out later on, this is embarrassing. I found out that he was actually taking the openers and he didn't want to dispose of them. And like for us, we would keep them for scrap metal. He was putting them out on the curb. So finally, one lady, subdivision, whatever, probably nicer house, calls Lowe's and complains. And I get Lowe's calling me, say, hey, obviously you guys didn't clean up your mess. We got a problem, And I'm like, what? And they said, I guess they just stuck the opener out by the road. And so I call the guy and he's like, I've been doing that with every job. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. And you didn't know which way to go. You really did. You didn't know if you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing with Lowe's. It was they wanted you to tell you if you did any extra. Like you couldn't just go directly to the customer and then say like, hey, I need to do a spring on your door to make your opener work, and then charge them. Oh, no. Lowe's needs to be aware of that. You know what I mean? Because then they're going to mark it up. And I understand that there can be just some riffraff in there. I had a guy that was doing it too, and he ended up, he needed to install the spring. So he, said, your spring is broke. I'm going to install your opener, but the spring's broke, which they probably didn't understand. That's the whole reason why their opener's not working. I don't know. And the opener could have just been old, and he said, you know what, I'm going to do it too. So anyways, she scratched him a check. And then guess what? Now the husband comes home. He's not happy. Lowe's gets involved. I got to deal with all the headache. I'm not getting paid extra for this. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on. It's so much easier to deal directly with the customer. I think we had one, I don't know if that was actually, I think it was a Lowe's, where we ended up the opener, sometimes the rail has to be notched out in those, in the jam, how do you call it, the rafters, to make it fit. Maybe the door is just about ready to hit it. It was already notched. The technician had to notch it just a little bit more, and did it turn into a storm. I mean, he ended up letting her know, and that's maybe where he went wrong. I mean, but it is the right thing to do. He just said, hey, I had a, and all, it was just like her eyes just went and looked at that, like you just killed the baby, even though it was already notched. And it's just a little garage. It ain't like this is the only board holding the place up. He said, I just had to clean it out a little bit. He says, so, I could make your opener fit. And oh boy, did she have a field day with us. And Lowe's got involved, and they had to get a contractor out there, and then to make sure it was still structurally, it was just a nightmare. It didn't make any sense. Like I said, these people are in a different world. It's like they have no concept of somebody could be bending me over. That's the concept. I don't even know how to put it. I really don't. It's just like they don't have no concept. But you owe them everything. So anyways, we are not going to be partner back up with Lowe's. It does feel kind of sad, but what are you supposed to do? The other thing too, I was talking about with the openers is my guys, I didn't want them to do inferior work. So they would actually take angle iron off the rack at our shop to install these openers, right? And that's probably the right way, because they give you some chintzy little cheesy junk, tin, metal, whatever, but it can only go like a foot. And most doors are, openers are hanging 2 feet, 3 feet down. You can't make it work with this stuff. So they were just scarfing metal, man. And I'm just going, guys, like we're getting like $65 for these openers, and then you're taking a stick at angle, which is like $8-10, and then you're driving to this place, and then you're there for whatever 2.5 hours for an opener. You guys are killing me, you know what I mean? And you can't be doing that. And then it just turns into this. You're just pinching pennies and trying to make nickels out of them. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. So they really should up their prices more, so they could find. When I came in, they were having roofers install garage doors. So the guy was all super excited when I was starting. He was like, yeah, I've been having a roofer and he's horrible. And I'm just like, And then they would I forgot, they would score you. So I don't know what they're doing now, if they're still doing it, but they would score you, and if your scores were bad enough, you would actually get kicked off. And that was so they were scoring you. They'd have these like a third party call and review where you're courteous. Did you use your own tools? Did you use your own ladders? Did they leave any material there? And then the fun part is that if the customer's not home and you need a signature, then back then at least you were trying to fax it, and then you know how it is. These people are busy too, so you send it to them. They don't send it back right away. You forget about it. Oh my goodness! The money? The more I sit here and talk about it, the more I'm just getting like, oh no, just run away. There's no way you could do this anymore. You really can't. You're above this. I mean, it's like I said, we're not starving. We're not starving. And there's so much better money out there to be made than to deal with this, the headaches and oh man, no thanks. So anyways, I hope that's helpful for you guys, that if you're out there starting a business, if you're thinking about, trying to, get with the Home Depot and Lowe's, if you're a guy with a minivan, maybe a little car and a Chihuahua, maybe some of the big guys do it too, but I'm sure, their technicians reflect that. We don't have enough technicians to be paying somebody really low wages and then also throw them in a truck. We try to go for the more premier stuff and good loyalty with customers. That's what we aim for. Everything is a relationship. We try to build relationships with our customers. We're not trying to, wham, bam, thank you, Sam. And like I said, you get roped in there, and then like when they switched over to AMR, the product, they wouldn't give you an extra strut for a 16x7. Now you think, oh, okay, well that's not the end of the world. So they would give you like an extra $20 more than what like Wayne Dalton would. Well, the strut's like $30, So really what the problem was though is that, for one, the product would come in. I mean, especially if you got really busy, this semi truck comes in and it gets delivered, and now you got all this material mixed in with your customers, and you're trying to decipher, what's this one? This is low headroom track. Who's this go to? What's this go to? Where does this go to? Because I mean, the average guy, when you got 10, 20 doors on a truck, you're not sitting there you're pulling every piece off of the truck driver, and he's educated enough to go, oh, this is John Wham Bam, okay, that goes with his, and then you got a rack and everything. Normally this stuff just gets just spewed across your pavement or whatever you have there. It's in your building, and you say goodbye to the truck driver, and now you got to decipher through this. Now you got guys that, if they're not good technicians and they go through this stuff and they don't grab the right stuff, forget weather seal, whatever, didn't get the right weather seal, or some of these manufacturers, which was really great. I mean, when we worked with Wayne Dalton's been great. They packaged everything separately. We got the extra struts that we're supposed to. With AMR, heck, we would just get, here's a strut. So now you're like, okay, I'm putting an opener on here, and all I got is one strut. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's like, which one do I put? I'm going to put it on the top where the opener goes. Sorry about the middle of your door. You'll probably get about 5 years, and it'll start buckling in. oh, well, I mean, because that's reality. That's just how life works. So they wouldn't give you the product. You run out at the shop, and now you got to get this installed because the customer's sitting there going, I want my door. I want my door. One other one's broken. You're just like, okay, fine. Here's your door. It works. Good. I'm glad you're happy. And, for basically an extra $50 to $100, maybe $200, just to say, if you would have went through a garage door company, a good garage door company, you would have got a better product that would last. It would extend its life 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years. You know what I mean? It would just, because we try to do better rollers. We try to upgrade things. We try to do struts. We try to do operator brackets. And if you're a technician, you know what I'm talking about. Those things add up, because one day when that spring breaks and that thing's yanking on that top panel and it's got that right structure in it, it'll save itself. It won't destroy itself. Because once you wipe out a top panel, it gets pretty expensive and it doesn't match the color, and all this laundry list of things go from there. And maybe it's not made anymore, the make and model, because that's what a lot of manufacturers are doing nowadays. They're changing things, I think, deliberately, so you have to upgrade your door and they don't have to warranty it. I think that's a new common trend across the board with things, just like with openers. That's what I think. Menards is the worst. I think they change openers every 5 years so they can just go, oh yeah, but we don't sell it anymore. Oh yeah, you don't have Extreme anymore. Now we got Mastercraft or whatever it is that they got, and then no, we don't have Mastercraft. It's just they just keep rotating it. It's horrible. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something. I know I learned something. Stay away from Lowe's. It's better to keep fighting another fight than go down that road. Anyways, take care, you guys. Smash that like button if you wouldn't mind on your way out. If you're not a subscriber, you should subscribe. Be nice having you here. I'm going to look at the glowing light on this computer because it's getting dark out. And you know what? Happy Halloween. See ya.